Hello, everyone. My name is Antonio Lucini. I'm a channel sales manager at Zimbra. I have with me Patrick Swoboda, who is the CEO of Bamboozle. Bamboozle is a long-time Zimbra Silver partner in the UAE. In this webinar, we are going to show you some of the latest new integrations that are offered in Zimbra 9, and you will obviously get the chance to know more about Bamboozle and what they do and offer to their customers. Before we start, let me take a minute to remind you that this webinar is being recorded and will be shared with you next week. Please stay on mute while we present. However, feel free to ask all your questions in the Q&A panel located on the right side of your screen. We'll take a few minutes at the end to answer your questions. Zimbra is the largest provider of open source and open core collaboration software in the world. Zimbra provides solutions to governments, service providers, educational institutions, and small businesses. Zimbra solutions enable the exchange of information through various tools: email, contacts, calendars, tasks, document holders, chat, and video conferencing. The Zimbra partner network is active and dynamic with almost 2,000 partners worldwide. Local partners who speak your language and understand your culture, offering messaging solutions in the form of licenses or cloud services that take into account the laws and regulations of your country of installation. Potential to evolve Zimbra products through Zimlets and dedicated APIs. Here we see a general presentation of the Zimbra solution. The solution must be deployed on a Linux server and can also be accessed from a web interface where all the features are present, such as email, calendar, contacts, task management, chat, etc. This web interface is compatible with all the main internet browsers on the market, such as Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. The operating systems that can be used are obviously Windows or Mac OS. Zimbra is available from any device, whether it is a desktop or laptop computer, tablet, or a smartphone. This allows you to have access to your emails from anywhere at any time. What allows the synchronization is a protocol called ActiveSync. Finally, Zimbra has external integrations with Active Directory, OpenLDAP, and Microsoft Exchange. Now, I will hand it over to Patrick, which will talk about his company, Bamboozle, and will also present the new integrations in Zimbra 9.
Awesome. Thanks, Antonio. I think I have already control. Yes. So welcome everyone to our short webinar. We did the last one, I think, nearly a year ago, where we pretty much introduced Zimbra. And today it will be more about the integrations and the Zimlets and what you can do with Zimbra. And similar to Zimbra, I want to give a short introduction what we're doing. So I call us a boutique cloud provider focusing on Middle East and parts of Africa. We are based in the United Arab Emirates. We're based there since 2015. We have data centers in Dubai and Abu Dhabi here, parts in Oman, and we're looking to expand. And Zimbra has pretty much been a partner of us since the start. We started working with them right in 2015. Since we are not offering the alternatives like Office 365 or Gmail and all this other stuff, so we wanted to focus on one solution that is the right solution for our customers. We have quite a lot of customers here, and we offer Zimbra pretty much in 3 different flavors. One is a shared subscription-based model where you pretty much sign up and choose the number and type of mailboxes and use the product as you go. That's hosted locally here in Dubai and gives you the benefit to have pretty much all the functionality you have with other products, but it's on one side cheaper, it's in the country, and you have way more direct and easy support. Then we also offer for our customers dedicated Zimbra instances in our cloud. So if you want full control, nothing shared, you can have your own dedicated Zimbra server branded to you, managed for you right with us in our cloud. And the third option is that we help you deploy Zimbra on premise. So if you have your own data center or your own data room and want everything on your premises, we can offer you that too at pretty much the same cost model. So it's a pretty easy model to deploy Zimbra, and you have pretty much always the choice. Unlike with other solutions that are either only cloud or different solutions on the cloud and on premise, here it's pretty much in all three versions exactly identical from the functionality. You pretty much just choose how you want to deploy it. Here the slide for it. I was talking without the slide. What is important, what we do differently, especially to some of the other solutions when it comes to as a service model, your mailboxes are always backed up, so you don't need a third-party solution to secure your data. We take care of that. That also includes antivirus and anti-spam protection. That's a little bit different on premise because that's your choice. But as a service offer, we have all that functionality included in the standard price, and everything is in there. So what we want to do today is not talk about Zimbra. I will have a short demo at the end, pretty much showing you the web interface. But it's important to us that you know that Zimbra pretty much has everything that all the other solutions are offering, but it's way more flexible on how you can deploy them. What is very important to me is we had this in the start from Antonio. You can pretty much connect to Zimbra how you like to. So you can use the classic mail tools like Outlook or Apple Mail, or when it comes to a phone, pretty much your Android client or your iOS client, mail client. But what I have started to do, and I mentioned we use Zimbra since 2015, we also use it internally. We pretty much went away from Outlook and such stuff and pretty much do everything in the web interface. Pretty much something that started with Gmail. But the benefit is that all the integrations you will see now are pretty much available to you in any browser wherever you are, which especially in the current situation that a lot of people are still doing home office or partly home office, that you don't need a special device. You pretty much just need a web browser and have all the functionality in there. So first of all, we mentioned it a year ago, let's say it again. With Zimbra 9 came something that is called the modern UI, which we as a partner love very much. So Zimbra had always a web interface, but introduced modern user interface that is more modern, more flexible, way faster, also way more flexible when it comes to mobile devices, which looked a little bit different in the old interface. But what is very important, Zimbra has always supported so-called Zimlets, which are extensions that add functionality either to the web interface or also to other solutions, because it pretty much provides a network where third parties or Zimbra or even you can pretty much deploy integrations into Zimbra itself. And it works seamless between the classic UI, as it's called, and the modern user interface. So the important thing is that you can pretty much add pretty much every functionality you want, even yourself, to the Zimbra client, and pretty much extends the functionality of Zimbra, which makes it a way more powerful tool than what you see with some classic solutions in the market, which pretty much have their own predefined plugins and are pretty much like that. Here, you're very, very flexible on what you can do at the end of the day. Today, we will pretty much look into some of the tools available, not all of them, because it's a lot. But the important ones that are essentially important when it comes to working with the modern UI. So what is important? Zimbra pretty much has you covered. As you see, here's an example. Here's Lime Survey integrated into Zimbra, or even a WordPress site. You want to do this via different protocols from authentication tools, DAF, or even an API. Zimbra will allow you to integrate this very, very easily. And Zimbra, and this is very important to us as a partner, has, especially the last year, worked very, very actively to get new partners and as well as new Zimlets in place, which means the Zimlet eco structure is really going well, and you can really look into where it's going and what's coming up. Let's make an example, and I think this is an example that a lot of people use, is Zimbra in Zoom. you can pretty much integrate Zoom directly into your Zimbra interface. You can schedule your calls right in the calendar with a single click. So once set up, you don't need any other tools and create the links in Zoom itself. And you pretty much open your calendar, schedule the call, or directly go into the Zoom interface and schedule ad hoc meeting that works right out of the box. You pretty much just have to install the Zimlet, and yeah, there are some other technical requirements, like how the LDAP has to be structured. But once it's set up, your users pretty much just press the button and schedule Zoom meetings, which is a very important feature when it comes to the functionality of webinars or online chats or online meetings. Zimbra also has its own version of Zimbra Chat, which allows a similar functionality. But if you're using Zoom, you can install it and use it right out of the box. The same with Jitsi, which would be an open source alternative to Zoom. I don't know who is using Zoom or Jitsi or all the other solutions here. Jitsi is pretty much an awesome alternative if you look into hosting your own video calls. It's completely open source. It's relatively easy to install. We offered it, by the way, too, to our customers. We have a lot of schools that use Jitsi as an alternative to commercial solutions, so they have better control about privacy and all the other stuff. A Jitsi server is pretty much a standard virtual server, and then the rest is connectivity. And with the Jitsi Zimlet, you can integrate into your Zimbra interface the Jitsi functionality. The good news with Jitsi is there are shared servers in the web, so you don't even need an account. Jitsi doesn't work with predefined accounts if you don't set it up this way. You pretty much just need the video server and a URL that defines who you invite. And within Zimbra, you pretty much just add that URL. As you see, you pretty much give this URL once and then schedule your meetings, and you have your video calls right away. So it's quite a good solution if you look for self-hosted video chats, and again, right out of the box within Zimbra, easy to integrate. The next one, where we also have some clients, is RocketChat. RocketChat is pretty much an alternative to Slack or tools like MetaMost. So it's a corporate chat software that also offers a lot of integration in the other parts. And now that chat can be completely integrated into the Zimbra interface. So if you're looking to replace classic emails with tools that give an easy and direct way to communicate within your company, RocketChat might be a great alternative. Again, price-wise, it's self-hosted. They also have a cloud solution, but it's pretty much way cheaper than Slack. It's way more flexible when it comes to integration part, and you can integrate it in Zimbra with a Zimlet. Here it says coming soon. As far as I'm aware, it's already available, and you can already use RocketChat within Zimbra. Other chat solutions are also on the plan, and also important to know, and I will show you that a little later, is Zimbra, of course, comes with its own integrated chat solution that you can also use. But here is the example of adding a third party directly into the user interface. Mentioned it before, Slack. If you are already on Slack or are planning to use it, also here you can integrate it right into your Zimbra interface, which means your Active Directory, your LDAP, or your user base can be connected, and you can chat with anyone within from an email, from a calendar entry, from a contact tag, and pretty much just click on the button and join a conversation with that person. So it makes the integration in Slack quite nicely. You can connect multiple Slack instances where you have an account. And if the other user also have an account, you can directly connect to it. You might have heard Slack is pretty much opening up how Slack works. It is not only limited to chats within the company or invited people anymore, but they already started and will have a full directory on Slack. So anyone who uses Slack can be pretty much contacted out from other Slack users as long as it's enabled. Which means the integration in Zimbra makes it way easier to communicate with a very large user base at the end of the day. And if you use the functionality of Slack, then it's a great extension to it. And still, you have alternative tools like RocketChat, which pretty much can be hosted on premise. The same when we come to collaboration tools. So instead of sending large emails and also have more control about who is opening your attachments, Zimbra easily allows the integration into Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive, and that makes it very easy to share directly out of your Zimbra clients attachments or links to files that are hosted on those solutions. You can have multiple of them, as always, and it also works with the desktop as well as the mobile clients. So especially for enterprise collaboration, if you have large files that you want to share easily and use one of those solutions, they can be one-to-one and easily integrated. Another favorite of mine, because we don't use, as I mentioned it before, a classic SaaS solutions. We also a Nextcloud partner. Nextcloud is pretty much the self-hosted version of tools like Dropbox and similar solutions. It's a dedicated solution that works either on your own servers or again on dedicated cloud servers. Gives you all the functionality that you have, but on your own devices, so you have full control about your data and your privacy. And with the Zimbra Nextcloud Zimlet, you can fully integrate Nextcloud into Zimbra, which means you can have all your documents and can share them directly out of the web client. You can create the share links and also control things like the password protection, the expiration date of your files. And we are using it very actively. That's one of the greatest tools you have because you have way more granular control about your data than you have with classic email attachments. And Nextcloud is itself quite a powerful solution, and the combination of Zimbra and Nextcloud gives you a whole suite of tools to collaborate, from classic emails, file editing, file sharing, document management, and everything else. And the Zimbra Nextcloud Zimlet is also freely available, very easy to install. We offered it as part of our shared infrastructure for customers that have their own Nextcloud. And we have great feedback on that. And it's really a great solution. So if you want to look into that, I really recommend it. Another solution, if you want to automatically deploy email templates, you can do this via a Zimlet, where you pretty much have predefined templates that can be used for all kinds of communication. You pretty much choose what template to use and send it out. Again, a very simple example at the end of the day, but how a Zimlet can easily optimize your email flow, your workflow, and that can be centrally managed, and pretty much you have a way more standardized uniform communication to your clients, to your partners, and of course internally. Another tool, we haven't tried that yet, but you can integrate Google Translate into Zimbra, which helps you pretty much if you get an email that comes from someone who doesn't speak your language or the other way around, and you can fully automate it, have your emails translated to a language of choice. You see here an example. You see the Dutch version, as I see on the left side. I think it's Dutch, I'm pretty sure. And it pretty much translates you into English, and you pretty much can see what was coming in. Again, just an example how a Zimlet easily can be used to make your life easier. You don't need to leave the Zimbra client for that. You pretty much can one-to-one run a simple task like translating a text right in the web interface instead of copying that text, go to translategoogle.com, put it in, and then have that. So again, Zimlets are, for me, pretty much a very useful extension of the functionality that everything is in one place instead of 50 places you have to go to. If you look just what we have talked about, and this was just an example, you can pretty much have in one interface your video chats, your translation parts, the email template, and then connect directly to your document management, and that all in the same interface. And that's pretty much the idea of Zimlet. Also, social justice Zimlet, also that is important right now. Things like that, we don't call things master slave anymore, but went to primary and secondary. Blacklist becomes the deny list and everything. So that's an important part, or I think a very useful part for more social awareness or social justice awareness in the company, within your partners. And I think it's a very important thing to put such things on there. It's a small thing, but at the end of the day, for me, it pretty much puts us in a better direction. And I think we should go for things like that. And of course, as imagined, there are way more Zimlets. You find the links here for the latest Zimlets, what is available in the market. You can download them, you can install them. They're pretty easy to install, but from sticky notes, signature templates. So there are all kinds of forms. There are way more templates when it comes to integration into other third-party tools that we haven't mentioned so far. So have a look. And the other important thing is, of course, you can also pretty much create your own Zimlets based on software, based on cookbooks. You can really look into how you can extend your Zimbra platform with the tools you want. That applies to pretty much everything you're using. You can make your own templates. You can make your integration into your own proprietary software or a software that is currently not supported. You also find a lot of open source Zimlets on the websites too, and you can have a look in there. So Zimlets pretty much extends the functionality of Zimbra way beyond classic commercial solutions will ever do, because it's a way more open platform. Zimbra comes from the open source ecosystem, so you have a way better way of doing things. So one bonus slide is just as an example what you can do. I don't know, Antonio, if you want to talk about it, because we don't use Elastic in combination with Zimbra. I'll leave that up to you. If not, so yes, yep.
Yeah, I don't know if Andrew Barry wants to add something about this slide. Probably, you know, they know more about it than I do myself. But let's see if they want to jump in.
Yeah. So this slide is as it says, is a bonus slide. We are coming up with a guide soon that will allow you to set up Elastic Stack on Zimbra, and the idea is that you can have some insights into what your Zimbra cluster is doing, so you can see the amount of email it is sending out, the amount of spam that is coming in. You can see things like authentication failures, you know, people that do brute password attempts, or maybe even are trying to hook into your SSH server and stuff like that. So that's that. You can also monitor your system resources, so all the things like CPU and RAM. But mainly this is probably interesting for people that run on-premise or have their own data center and that are responsible for their own hardware. So this can help you and understand if you need to scale up or scale down your platform. So you can proactively scale your Zimbra cluster in case you're having a reduced use load, or if it is increasing, you can scale without your users noticing it. That's basically the idea of all this. So visualizing of the logs, yeah.
So for companies that use the elk stack, as it was called a long time ago, it's pretty much a perfect integration. So, and if you use Elastic, the integration is actually quite nice. We are not using it, but I've seen a lot of clients using Elastic or the elk stack, and it's quite a great visualization tool with Kibana. Awesome. Good. Then, as promised, just a 5 minutes demo, pretty much just showing the people that haven't seen so far the web interface and some of the functionality of Zimbra in the web interface. I will just share my screen. Just give me 1 second. You guys have to tell me once you see everything.
Yeah, we can see it.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So, of course, when you talk that long, you get signed out, which is not that awesome. Let's do this again. Here we go. So this is just an empty client. What is important to me, that would be for the customers that have their own instances or on-premise, how you can brand the modern user interface. As you see, this is Bamboozle branded. Took us some time to get it perfect, but at the end of the day, you can see you can have your own web client, which is completely branded in your colors, in your logo. So especially for internal branding, it's an awesome tool. And again, it takes a little to get all the colors right. You have some help in the documentation, but then you have your perfectly branded own Zimbra interface. And this is how our shared user interface for our clients look like. So I will not go through that. Yes, we have an inbox and we can send emails and all of that. I just want to go into some of the additional functionality as an example. Let's, for an instance, into cloud storage. So we don't have Nextcloud connected, but that would be Zimbra Drive here. So here you see within your Zimbra web interface, very similar to G Suite at the end of the day, you can manage pretty much your documents. You can create new documents. So with Collabora Office, you have the functionality of managing presentations, spreadsheets, classic Word documents within the Zimbra app. Just an example, if we open, or let's make a new one for an instance, let's do a new spreadsheet. And you can pretty much have all what you normally have in multiple apps directly in the web client. It's just opening up or not. This is always when you want to test something, because I'm not sure I'm 100% logged in. Let's just see if that does something. Of course it doesn't. Let's say if we have an existing file which is more willing to open. Okay. I think the sharing prohibits the load from the external one. Okay, that's fine. That's my local nice antivirus system that doesn't like to share that document because it's a second browser. But yeah, as you see in here, you can pretty much manage your documents. What is important here, you can also, like we have with the Nextcloud solution, share your documents one-to-one. So we can create a share link. We can create who can actually manage a file. You can make a link public, which means the document is available to anyone who has that link at the end of the day. You can set a password. So you have a complete collaboration suite for document management right in your Zimbra interface. And as long as you're not on WebEx and share it and have antivirus installed, then that works actually quite fine. The second I will turn off WebEx, it will work perfectly well. But just then as an example, here also an example of chat software. So that is a demo user. It's not connected currently, but you pretty much have here one-to-one the connectivity into the chat of Zimbra itself. And here you would connect one-to-one to Slack and have Slack then integrated into your tools with, as said, in your emails, in your calendars, in your contacts, where you manage all that functionality. So Zimlets are pretty easy to manage once your admin has them installed, which is normally a single command line interface that adds a Zimlet. Third-party Zimlets, you might have to upload some things. You can pretty much manage your Zimlets yourself. Once they are part of your solution, you can, as you see, manage the Zoom Zimlet, which is enabled here for this account, the Slack Zimlet for this account, and all the other stuff within Zimbra also managed by Zimlets, which makes it very easy at the end of the day to keep the ecosystem in place and working. And then here we see the example, Slack and Zoom. Since the Zimlet is enabled, we can manage it right from our settings page. Here we would connect to Zoom, and then the only thing we have to do is pretty much enter our account details, and then Zoom is connected to our accounts. And within the calendar, we can automatically create Zoom meetings, and within here, we then can start video calls whenever we want and whenever you like. So we don't use Zoom in Zimbra, so this is why it's not installed here. But just as a very, very short example at the end of the day, how Zimlets work, how easy they are in the interface. And I think we're also running out of time. So that would be my part here. If somebody from the team wants to add some things, I'll let you guys do it. But that would be everything from me, and we would go into the last slide by Antonio as a summary of Zimbra, and I think then into a Q&A.
Okay, thank you very much, Patrick. Very nice presentation. So this is, the last slide that we have for today's webinar. Zimbra 9 provides everything you have always loved about Zimbra. So we still offer the lowest TCO in the industry. Zimbra is secure, private, and provides full data sovereignty. Zimbra never reads or sells your email. You can scale your Zimbra deployment from 10 users to 10 millions users with confidence. Zimbra runs anytime, anywhere on any device. Install on-prem in a public or private cloud, or choose a hybrid deployment. Your options are wide open with Zimbra. Open source is in our DNA, and we continue to use open source apps. Zimbra 9 will have an open core and license. Zimbra customers will have access to the code. So yeah, this is a summary of what Zimbra is about, and yeah. Regarding the Q&A, I don't know, Patrick, if you already checked, if you have any questions. I can't see any questions at the moment.
No questions yet.
So I think, yeah, I think let me just remind, everybody who registered for this webinar or who attended, today. So this webinar has been, recorded. So we'll be sharing the link to watch it in the next few days. So even if today, you couldn't make it, you couldn't attend the webinar, so you will still have a chance to watch it. And that will be shared in the next few days. I think that's it. I don't know if you or anybody else wants to add anything. Otherwise, we can just thanks everybody. Yeah. So. Yeah. Thank you, everybody who joined today, and yeah,
it was a pleasure.
Please get in touch, and we are here and happy to help.
Thank you very much, Patrick and Antonio, Andrew and Barry as well.
You're welcome.